Hello, I'm Carlton Van Putten, founder and CEO of PayRent. Welcome to the Keys to Success podcast, where we unlock the secrets to smarter investments, smoother tenant management, and bigger profits, one episode at a time. Ready to master your property game? Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Keys to Success, your rental roadmap. Today, we're going to be zeroing in on Section 8 rental housing.
Okay.
You all really wanted us to unpack this program, and we have a really comprehensive guide from PayRent.
Yes.
That's really going to help us kind of navigate through all of the essentials.
Absolutely.
And I think, whether you're a landlord who's maybe considering participating or a tenant, and you're seeking clarity, on your options.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a really helpful deep dive for you all.
It is.
Our goal today is to kind of really unpack the essentials and clear up any confusion and highlight exactly what you need to know about Section 8 to make informed decisions.
Absolutely. And I think what stands out to me is how many people this program impacts.
Yeah.
Going back to 2022, 2.3 million households out of 5.2 million receiving rental assistance were utilizing these housing choice vouchers.
Wow.
So it's a huge program.
Huge.
And a really important federal initiative.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the very basic question. What is Section 8?
Sure.
In the most simple terms.
Section 8 is essentially a federal program, officially known as the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Got it.
Designed to help very low-income families, seniors, and individuals with disabilities find affordable housing in the private rental market.
Mm-hmm.
So a key difference here is it's not like the older model of public housing.
Okay.
This program empowers families to choose from various types of housing, single-family homes, apartments, townhouses.
Right.
As long as the owner is willing to participate and the property meets certain safety and quality standards.
Got it.
So there is an element of choice here.
Right. Yeah.
Which is really significant.
Okay. So walk us through how these vouchers work.
Okay.
Like once someone actually has one.
So once an eligible family receives a housing choice voucher, they then are tasked with looking for a suitable rental unit on the private market. The really crucial part here is that the landlord must be willing to accept the voucher.
Got it.
So this search process allows families to consider, their preferences and their needs.
Right.
In terms of location, property type, community, it's really about finding a place that works for them.
Yeah.
Rather than being placed in a specific development.
Yeah. Okay. So for a tenant who thinks that this might be an option for them, what are the general rules around who can qualify for a Section 8 voucher?
Generally, the primary eligibility criterion is income.
Okay.
So families' income usually cannot exceed 50% of the area median income.
Got it.
However, the public housing agencies, or PHAs, which operate at the local level, are responsible for thoroughly verifying all the details.
Right.
So it's not just income.
Okay.
They look at family size, who is part of the household, the immigration status of family members.
Yeah.
So it's a comprehensive assessment that goes beyond just income level.
Right.
And also considering family size and any specific housing needs that family might have.
Got it.
Like accessibility requirements.
Okay. So say someone believes that they meet this criteria. What's the first step in actually applying for a voucher?
The application process can be quite a lot.
Okay.
The first step, really, for anyone that's interested is to visit the website of their local PHA.
Okay.
It's important to note that application periods can vary quite a bit and might not be open continuously.
Okay.
Once an application is submitted, it's very common to encounter long waiting periods.
Really?
And we are talking potentially years in many areas.
Wow.
So this really highlights the substantial demand for this kind of housing assistance.
Yeah, that sounds like a long and potentially frustrating wait.
It is.
Are there any mechanisms in place to help certain applicants move up that list more quickly?
PHAs do have the ability to establish local preferences.
Okay.
So this means they can prioritize certain categories of applicants based on specific community needs.
Okay.
So, for example, they might give preference to individuals experiencing homelessness, families facing urgent medical situations, veterans.
Got it.
So these preferences can offer a pathway for some to receive assistance sooner. But it is important to understand that even with these in place, the overall demand often outstrips the available vouchers, which leads to those extended waiting times.
Right. Okay. So let's imagine that someone finally does receive a voucher.
Sure.
How does the rental payment actually work? This is where fair market rents, or FMRs, come into play, right?
Exactly. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, publishes fair market rents, often referred to as FMRs.
Okay.
And these are essentially benchmark estimates of the average cost for moderately priced rental units within a specific local housing market. So these FMRs are crucial.
Got it.
Because they determine how much rental assistance a voucher holder will receive. Okay. Typically, the tenant is expected to contribute around 30% of their adjusted gross income towards rent and utilities.
Okay.
And the Section 8 voucher then covers the remaining portion up to that FMR limit.
Okay.
So for clarity, adjusted gross income is their income after certain deductions have been taken.
Okay, got it. And we also came across small area fair market rents.
Yes.
How do those differ from the standard FMRs?
So that is a really important distinction, especially when we think about how this program can help families access different neighborhoods.
Okay.
Since January 2017, HUD introduced small area fair market rents,
Okay.
or SAFMRs. These are more localized rent benchmarks calculated at the zip code level within larger metropolitan areas.
Got it.
The idea behind SAMRs is that rental costs can vary significantly even within the same city or county.
Yeah.
So by using these more specific zip code-based rent limits, the goal is to enable families with vouchers to have a wider range of housing options, including neighborhoods with more opportunities, better schools, safer environments, access to jobs, that might have been financially out of reach under the broader countywide FMR guidelines.
Okay.
So for tenants, the FMR acts as a cap on the total rent that can be subsidized, which means they can choose a more expensive unit, but they would have to cover the difference beyond the FMR with their own funds.
Got it.
And for landlords' understanding, the local FMR is really crucial for determining a competitive and eligible rental price.
Got it. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. Like a more targeted approach to reflect those realities of local rental markets.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking a lot about the standard housing choice vouchers. But the pay rent guide also detailed property-based vouchers.
Yes.
What's the key difference there for both landlords and tenants?
So these are the two main types of Section 8 assistance. While housing choice vouchers are tenant-based, giving that voucher holder the flexibility to choose a rental on the private market. Property-based vouchers are tied to specific rental properties or developments.
Got it.
In this model, the voucher is actually attached to a particular unit or building. This provides a stable source of funding for landlords who dedicate some or all of their units to low-income renters.
Got it.
And for tenants, it simplifies the housing search in some ways. They're looking at properties where voucher acceptance is already in place. So it also helps to ensure that there is a supply of affordable housing in certain areas.
Yeah. Okay. So for a landlord, a property-based voucher would offer
more security.
More security.
Yes, in terms of guaranteed rental assistance for a specific unit. So it provides a more stable funding stream. And that can be attractive for those that are really committed to offering affordable housing.
Got it. Okay.
So it really depends.
Yeah. We've mentioned public housing agencies quite a bit.
Yes.
Can we delve a little deeper into their role and what they actually do?
So PHAs are really central to administering the Section 8 program at the local level.
Got it.
They essentially act as the intermediaries. They receive federal funding from HUD and then manage the program within their specific jurisdiction. Their responsibilities are pretty extensive. As we discussed, they handle applicant eligibility, verifying income, family details, and immigration status. They manage those often lengthy waiting lists. And they have the authority to establish local preferences to prioritize certain applicants based on community needs. Importantly, they also have a regulatory function. They are responsible for ensuring that participating landlords comply with the program's requirements, which includes maintaining those housing quality standards. And they have the power to terminate housing assistance payments if landlords fail to meet these obligations. So it's a critical role. And it's worth noting that PHIs often operate under significant resource constraints. And face a lot of administrative challenges. So think of them as like the local offices that are receiving money from the government and are responsible for running Section 8 in your area.
Got it. So it sounds like there's clear responsibilities on both sides for this to work effectively.
Absolutely.
For the tenants who receive the vouchers and the landlords who participate, what are some of the key obligations for each?
So for tenants, some of the primary responsibilities include maintaining the rental unit in reasonable condition, paying their portion of the rent on time, and proactively reporting any changes in their income or household size to the PHA.
Got it.
This ensures that they remain eligible and compliant with the program's rules. On the landlord side, a crucial responsibility is to allow reasonable access for the PHA to conduct inspections to ensure that the property meets the required housing quality standards, covering things like safety and sanitation. Landlords also need to comply with these standards and make necessary repairs in a timely manner.
Got it.
So adherence to these mutual responsibilities is really fundamental to a stable and successful Section 8 tenancy for everyone involved.
Got it. So it sounds like a program with a lot of potential benefits, but the pay rent guide also highlighted some significant challenges that voucher holders face.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest hurdles they encounter?
Unfortunately, despite the program's its important goals, voucher holders do often encounter considerable obstacles. So we already touched on the long waiting periods, which can leave families in very difficult housing situations. For extended periods of time, there's also often a lack of comprehensive resources to help families navigate the complexities of the program and successfully find suitable housing. And sadly, discrimination against voucher holders by some landlords remains a significant and persistent barrier. And it makes it harder for them to secure stable housing.
It's really sobering to hear that those challenges persist.
It is.
Were there any potential solutions or areas for improvement that the guide mentioned?
The guide did point to a couple key areas where improvements could make a real difference. One is streamlining the inspection process.
Got it.
You know, delays. Inspections can sometimes create unnecessary hurdles and delays for both tenants trying to move in and landlords waiting for approval. There's also ongoing discussion and exploration of alternative or complementary approaches to housing assistance. Like looking at different models of direct cash assistance to see if a more diverse set of tools could better address the varied needs of low-income families.
You know, I think it's easy to get kind of lost in the details of policy and process, but it's so important to remember the human impact of these programs.
For sure.
And the pay rent guide included some really inspiring stories of individuals who grew up in public housing and went on to achieve some really remarkable things. Can you share a couple of those examples?
These stories really underscore the vital role that stable and affordable housing can play in providing a foundation for future success. So, for instance, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor and former President Jimmy Carter both spent part of their childhoods in public housing. Leonard Gallman, who also grew up in public housing, went on to earn prestigious academic scholarships. And even prominent figures in the entertainment industry.
Really?
Like Whoopi Goldberg and Jay-Z have connections to public housing during their early lives. So these aren't just nice anecdotes. They really illustrate how providing a secure and affordable place to live can really empower individuals to overcome challenges and achieve their full potential.
Those are powerful reminders
They are.
of the program's potential.
Yeah.
So just to kind of bring it all together for our listeners, especially those who are either landlords considering participating or tenants navigating the system.
Yes.
Can we quickly recap the main differences between housing choice and property-based vouchers?
The fundamental difference is about who holds the key to the assistance.
Okay.
So housing choice vouchers are tenant-based, offering flexibility for that individual or family to choose housing on the private market.
Okay. And to move and keep that assistance.
Right.
Property-based vouchers are tied to specific properties, offering that stability for landlords.
Okay.
And potentially simplifying the search for tenants within those buildings.
Got it. And for a tenant who thinks Section 8 might be right for them, what's the crucial first step?
The most important first step is to get in touch with their local public housing agency.
Okay.
Check their website for information on eligibility requirements, application periods, how to apply.
Got it.
And just be prepared for a potentially long waiting list.
Okay. And for both tenants and landlords involved in the program, what's a key element that they both need to understand?
Fair market rents, or FMRs.
Okay.
These HUD-established benchmarks directly influence the level of rental assistance.
Okay.
And they provide a framework for understanding reasonable rent levels in different areas.
Got it. Finally, what's the underlying factor that contributes most to a successful Section 8 rental experience? It really comes down to the mutual responsibilities of both the tenant and the landlord.
Okay.
So clear communication, adherence to program rules, a commitment to maintaining the property are essential for a positive and stable arrangement.
So what does this all mean for you? Whether you're a landlord exploring options for stable tenancy and consistent payments, or a tenant seeking affordable housing solutions, understanding the ins and outs of Section 8 is really the first step.
It is.
We covered the process, the obligations, some of the realities, both positive and challenging, associated with it. This program, while complex, plays such a critical role in providing housing for so many who need it most.
It does.
So consider this your starting point.
Absolutely.
For further learning. What aspects of Section 8 sparked your interest the most?
Yeah.
What further questions do you have about how this program impacts your community? That's your invitation to keep exploring. And perhaps even connect with your local public housing agency to learn more about the resources available to you.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you on our next deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Keys to Success. I invite you to check out past episodes and follow us on your favorite podcast platform to get notified when new ones are released. And when you're ready to simplify managing your properties, be sure to visit us at www.payrent.com.